as this says in the title, Mascot Horror games. It's a thing, and it's getting pretty huge. New indie games that are actually quality titles are being pumped out left and right, specifically in the last 2 years. Five Nights at Freddy's popularized this genre, and it hasn't stopped growing since. It's actually getting more popular as new titles are recreating what they started. For people who want to play some, or just for people interested, I compiled a list of 10 Mascot Horror games. I chose the 10 off of general popularity, and then I ranked them off of my personal opinion of where they should lie as a video game. Feel free to roast me on my placements. The park is about a mother named Lorraine, who comes to a closed-down amusement park in search of her missing child. What puts the park at number 10 is that it's a fine game and it had a lot of hype behind it way back when. But when it fully released, it was a walking simulator and only an hour long. Also, there was an expectation for a lot more of the iconic killer chipmunk on the front, but it was too short of an experience. It still works as a game though, and makes the list on the cusp at number 10.
My son, Callum. He loves the theme park. Is it possible to love something and fear it at the same time?
Baldis Basics is the estranged mascot horror cousin of Slenderman. It's about a player who has to escape his school by finding 7 notebooks while evading the titular character Baldy. This is the one game on this list I knew the least about and haven't played. I knew that it existed, but it was way too wacky looking for me to ever look deeper into it until now. I see why it's popular now, and after watching a full video on it, it's definitely an original horror experience that deserves to be on this list, but it is also a very small experience, so it's still at number 9. Choo Charles had a ton of hype coming in when its trailer released. It's about a demonic tank engine that hunts you. You as the player have to upgrade your own train car to fight it as you traverse across a dark island. This premise was bound to succeed off the ridiculousness of it all, but when the game actually came out, it delivered. It somehow worked, and Choo Charles pushes hard into the nonsense that it promises, and is actually a good survival horror game. It clocks in at around 2 to 3 hours and is number 8 on this list. Gartner Bonbon is a horror game that takes place in a building disguised as a kindergarten. An incident occurs at the kindergarten and ends in the kidnapping of children into an underground complex. The protagonist must go through the depths of the facility to save their child. There is a story explain video for the series on the channel for anyone curious. Gartner Bonbon comes out in installments, and there's 4 games released so far, with the last coming out a few weeks ago. It's been gaining a ton of popularity since with fan games and memes. The first game is free on the Steam store for anyone wanting to try it out. Poppy Playtime is what inspired Garten Bonbon by being the first episodic mascot horror series. I saw this game everywhere when the first chapter came out. The story is about a protagonist who must find out what happened to the workers of an abandoned toy factory. It has 2 chapters out so far, and they released months from one another, but chapter 3 has been in development for over a year and is said to release soon, so it's predicted to be a lot larger than the rest of the games. And just like Garten Bonbon, the first chapter is also free to play.
To lose. Mommy doesn't like guests. A new playmate. It's been so long.
Joyville is slated to be the same type of episodic mascot series as the previous two games, and it just came out 2 weeks ago. And like I said, these games are being pumped out now, so I don't expect it to stop anytime soon. But Joyville, for me, had a much more entertaining opening chapter and first game, so I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt by putting it at number 5 for what it could turn into. It's about an abandoned children's camp where all the faculty and children vanished from one day. A child who visited there a long time ago is now a fully grown adult, and he goes back to the facility to investigate why everyone disappeared. I know, the plots in these are very samey, but they all manage to gain some originality as they go on. And once again though, this first game was actually pretty good for a promo, and there is also a story explained video on the channel for anyone interested in this one who doesn't want to buy it. Now it's time for the more well-known games, starting with Bendy and the Ink Machine at number 4. This has by far the best art style of any game on this list. It's Borderlands cell shading meets old school Mickey Mouse, and it looks beautiful in my opinion. The horror aesthetic is done well too. It's marketed as a horror puzzle game with action elements about an animation workshop that a former employee named Henry returns to. Henry must escape the workshop after realizing things have gone wrong there. It's around a 4-hour game and has a sequel as of last year titled Bendy and the Dark Revival.
Don't touch me. Above everything else, stay away from the ink demon.
What's an ink demon?
He likes to smile, and he kills anything that moves.
My Friendly Neighborhood is brand new and came out a few months ago. It's about a handyman sent to an old broadcast studio that started playing old episodes of a Muppet-filled television show. The Muppets turn out to be much more alive than once thought. I wrote this game off at first from the cover to be just another money grab, and after actually finding out about it and immersing myself in it, I can say that it's genuinely great. A lot of this genre is glorified walking simulators, but what makes them interesting is having one of the mascot characters chase you. But My Friendly Neighborhood is the most gameplay-oriented game on this list. It's a full survival horror game along the lines of Resident Evil and plays more like BioShock. And it's a good one, too. The Steam reviews are overwhelmingly positive. It's only 3 hours long, sadly, but it was a refreshing take on the mascot genre for me. The next is my personal favorite game on here, coming in at the number 2 spot, and that's Amanda the Adventurer. Amanda the Adventurer is about someone named Riley, who inherits their aunt's house. In their aunt's attic, they find strange tapes that play episodes of a public broadcast children's show. The tapes, however, don't turn out to be normal, and the circumstances involving their inheritance don't either. It's a full mystery and has the most interesting story on here by far, taking some inspiration from found footage tapes and occultic horror movies. Now we're to the number 1 spot, and that of course goes to what everyone already knew was coming, Five Nights at Freddy's. I feel I don't need to say much for this series. It's what started where the genre is today, and anyone in gaming knows about it now. The protagonist works night security at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, but the animatronics there are not all that meets the eye. The first game is still only $5 on Steam, and a DLC just released 2 months ago for the newest game in the franchise, Security Breach.
see you again soon. Would you like to take a short survey about your experience?
And that wraps up the list of 10 mascot horror games. Thanks for watching all the way through if you did. I'm not a huge cult fan of the genre myself, but I have liked several of these games, and the originality aspect of them does deserve the popularity in my opinion. We have other videos out on the channel for all things indie, including some on these games, so go check them out if you'd like, and feel free to like and subscribe while you're at it. It helps us out a lot. Thanks again, and I will see you later.